bed? Yep.
And the kids are attracted to him, and you're talking about, and anytime is it every time? I don't know. Some of the time that you pick her up, or even when you pick me up, like he will jump after. So I don't know, other than keeping him in a bed stay.
Yeah, so two things, right? So we go about working through issues like that in like a two-part way, right? So step one is making sure he could practice impulse control around that trigger. So if I know he's really apprehensive around kids or people or whatever it is, right, I need to first make sure I have total control of him around those things. So I would have him hold that bed stay, right, while they're doing all those things. So if you're playing with the kids and stuff like that, he's in a bed, your level's set up pretty high, you're ready to correct for it and get him back into the bed as soon as he breaks command, right? Once he is not just holding the bed stay while that stuff is happening, but he seems pretty calm while that stuff is happening, so he's no longer like on edge every time you see it, then you would have him loose, same deal with your level set even higher, and you would correct only if he tries to kind of do the run out, right? And you would stop that issue then at that point, right? So we're kind of gaining a little bit of leverage by practicing the impulse control first, reducing his like arousal to that trigger a little bit, right? Then once he's a lot calmer with it, we allow him to then just make the correct choice on his own without the need of us micromanaging him with the bed stay, right? So, but you want to go into those situations, I always say, and we've talked about this a couple times, right? Anytime I know there is a very specific thing that sets him off, I'm going to chase that thing, right? I want to work through that thing as quickly as possible as opposed to try to avoid it, right? So knowing that, I would want to set up that exact scenario as quickly as you can, you know? So that's how I would handle it. Looks good. Whenever you want, you can come to a stop. Make sure he stabilizes. Perfect. Then you tell him okay and release him. There it is. All right, I'll take the remote back from you. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be combining these commands a little bit. So really straightforward. We want to obviously teach them to alternate between all of them. Now, as we do this, this can definitely create some confusion for them initially, so we're really going to take our time with the process, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by putting him onto a bed, but off of the leash, obviously, right? So obviously there's going to be times when he's not right next to you when you give that command. There's going to be times if you're in the living room that he's over there on the couch or he's over there in the other room or something. We could still give that command all the same. He doesn't need to like follow you to it, right? So, Goose, bed. So I'll give that bed command here initially. Give him a second, obviously. No, bed. If he doesn't do it, same process, giving that correction, repeating that command. And then as I'm giving these commands, I'm going to wait until he's completely stable before I go to walk away, right? So I'm not going to like, while he's getting himself situated on the bed, turn and go, because that can get confusing and he may think that I want him to follow me. So we'll leave him there now. And then we're just going to let him chill there for a minute.
Would you, sometimes he'll lay down in bed and sometimes he'll sit.
That's fine.
Consider either one.
Either or is fine. Yeah, the expectation of bed is simply having 4 paws on the bed. So he could stand, sit down, I don't care. I will use that as like a barometer of like how calm he is on the bed, obviously, you know? So let's say I put him on that bed and he was standing at the edge of the bed, right? He's still doing it fine, so I'm not gonna correct him for anything, but I'm also probably not gonna call him off of it right there because he's anticipating, like he's ready to go, you know? Now, obviously there's gonna be a degree of anticipation throughout this process because they're pretty predictable patterns, but whatever we could do to kind of slow that down a little bit, get him waiting for that next piece of information is gonna be beneficial. So same deal, we'll let him chill there for another minute here. And then whenever I feel like he's pretty stable there, not jumping the gun or anything like that, what I'll do is I'll pick a spot and then I'll give him that come command. You can if you want to, but keep in mind, like let's say we use name before the command. It's not wrong, you absolutely can, but they're not two separate pieces, right? A lot of people, what they'll do is if they think their dog's distracted, they'll go, Boos, Boos, come, right? And they'll wait until he looks. Now the point of giving the name first is to get a little bit of attention on you, but it's still a part of the command where I'm gonna go, Boos, come, right? And it's gonna be that one piece. Boos, come. Now, let's say we run into a situation like this, which is normal, right? Every time we've done a bed stay so far, if he jumps the gun on that thing, gets off too soon, he gets a correction for it, right? So we're always correcting him for being too jumpy off the bed. I'm not gonna also correct him for not being jumpy enough off of the bed. So my one exception to the repeating commands rule here is if we're doing recalls out of a stationary command, whether a bed or a down or something like that, and he hesitates on that first one, I'll give that command one additional time before I give a correction for it. Boost, come. So you see that time, he's like, oh, okay, I am supposed to actually do this here. We've done this enough times. This is why I tell everybody to not do this initially, because everybody's first go-to is like when the dog's following them around, oh, I need to put him in a sit, or I need to put him in a down, or something like that. But these couple little tweaks we make to it, if you don't, you mess up all of the commands, you know? Because then you're correcting him for trying to do a good job with the bed stay, and then he's jumping too much off, and you're correcting him for that, and it's just, everything gets confusing, you know? Okay.